Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate, episode 129. Planning Phase celebrates the holidays? Are we really going to celebrate the holidays? Welcome to the year-end show, folks. Tonight, we will be doing our last episode before the new year. It doesn't mean we're folding. It just means we're going to take a couple of weeks off to relax, plan some stuff for next year, and work on, I guess, audio levels. um, so hopefully tonight audio levels will be a little bit more in sync. Some of it is a little crazy in how I do things, so sometimes things get mixed up. So I'm testing a new method to see if it works tonight. To begin with, the first thing I wanted to do is if you have not yet, we had last week we talked about donating you to a You Can Do store, and they are running a charity to help raise $1,500 to send children with cancer to their camp. So it's a really amazing thing. It's going to bring hope, joy, and connect your community by helping donate and bringing a child with cancer to camp. This organization is out in Oregon. They've been around since '86, and they've helped serve over 4,000 children with programming free of charge. And I think that's pretty amazing. So, hopefully, if you have the ability to, you're able to donate. The link is in the description of the show. I believe donations are still up, at least as of earlier tonight. It was still up. And I threw a link in Twitch in case you're watching live. Hopefully, that will work for everyone. With that being said, why don't we bring in my co host for tonight? Please welcome to the show, Mr. Benchwarmer himself, Alex. How are you tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Had a fun week, I guess. Not really much going on, just getting a bunch of stuff I needed to get done.
And joining us with another win for the Lions, Mr. JJ, Lions fan. You need to get rid of that jersey because that's not part of the requirements for the show.
Sorry, you said nothing about the jersey when we made this bet. It was only about the hats, buddy.
I know. Just remember, you owe me 3 more episodes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
What
I
the
gotcha.
hell? What the heck? And I get to pick which ones you don't. We're not going to play this off-season game here.
Okay, fair. That's fine.
All right. So hopefully your weekend was good. We had hockey for 2 days, and pretty much. So my nephew played hockey yesterday and today. It was kind of a fun time. Get to go watch little kids like check each other and punch each other and get angry on the ice. That's always fun. Um, Other than that, I had a pretty uneventful weekend. I didn't do a whole lot of anything except for I went to Chicago and saw Spanish Love Songs and Hot Mulligan. So for those of you who don't know, the reason we have the show tonight is because the one I was going to go to in Detroit was sold out, so I was not able to get tickets to the one in Detroit. But to go to the one in Chicago. So, but that was fun. Spanish Love Songs is like what I call like my Nora band when my daughter got diagnosed with cancer. It was like kind of the band that I found and has helped me through this whole time. So, JJ, how was your weekend?
Busy. For those who don't know, last week we had a very big tornado tear through the Gardner area here in North Carolina, which is close to where I live. Quite a lot of families were affected by the tornado that came through here, as well as a lot of families out in Tennessee that went through that. So I've been busy, kind of helping people out in my job for that. So it's been a very hectic week for that, and on top of that, just planning the holidays. I got family coming over next weekend. They'll be here for a week, and excited to actually play my first game of Legion that my brother is going to be setting up, and hopefully play a lot of board games while they're down here. So
Legion. What are you gonna switch to Legion instead of X-Wing?
nah. We're trying to spread out the hobbies. So he has Armada, I have X-wing. I will gonna get Shatterpoint, and he's gonna have Legion. So we'll spread out the miniatures game between us.
Well, I have a Shatterpoint set. I'll happily sell you. Still wrapped in the
Yeah,
box up top there. If Zach
yeah,
doesn't
man.
get to it first, so All right. Well, awesome. Glad everybody had a good weekend. A little bit. Obviously, this is a holiday episode, though no one's wearing holiday gear except for JJ because like the Lions are like Santa Claus this year. So like,
I mean, I thought about wearing a Santa hat on top of this, but then it would just look ridiculous, and you'll probably add in another penalty of like wearing a fourth day of wearing the hat or something.
yeah, if you were smart, you would have bought a Lion Santa Claus hat, and then I would have just forgiven you for the rest of the rest of the season. I've just been like, all right, you spent the money, you did it, you got a Lions one. I'm good for that.
Damn.
They exist. Like
they
it's
exist,
an
yeah.
actual thing.
I know they do. My nephew, it's funny because my nephew, he plays for the Grand Valley Stars, and they're blue and white. And he got a Santa Claus hat that's just like got no logo on it. And I was like, we could sell a Lions emblem on it and send it to JJ and make him wear it. But I couldn't. I didn't feel like paying the $35 overnight charge to you. I was like, oh, all right, well, screw that. I'm not going to pay that. So hopefully you all have had your Christmas shopping done and you guys get to spend some time relaxing. I don't know what we're doing. I just know I have a little bit of time off and then I'm on call next week. So yeah, so that's super fun. Next week will be a busy one for me being on call. Anybody else have any holiday plans? Alex, what are you doing for the holidays?
Oh, I have no idea. I'll figure it out when I get there.
No,
I don't do
all
these
right.
things.
Well, if I go to a Christmas party, I'll just invite you. You could be like you could be my +1 for any Christmas parties I go to on the east side.
There you go.
All right. Well, if we are done with that, why don't we jump into? Should we jump into our pattern analyzer segment first? Is that what we want to do first?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Hold on, let me turn the audio down on it. So I don't get yelled at. All right. Welcome to our pattern analyzer segment of the week. All right. Welcome back to Planning Phase Syndicate's pattern analyzer segment of the week, where we look at store champs and any other qualifiers that have been happening around the world and kind of compare lists and look at them and say, hey, this is things we like, things we don't like, and this is what won. So the first one we have comes from Silver King in Washington. And I will say there is a 7-ship list there, baby, that made top cut.
Holy crap.
I'm just saying, and we're going to cover that tonight because I own all those ships. And that would be that looks like a fun list, even though, the sad thing is I literally just put all of my CIS stuff away because I've literally spent like, a year and a half playing CIS. So I was like, all right, screw it. I'm going to play something else to like force myself to. And then somebody goes and makes a top 4 at a store champ with a 7-ship CIS list with Cad Bane and Dirge. But before we get to that, we have a resistance list that took the whole thing down from John McClain. Alex, I think we've seen this list before. But why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, it's an interesting list. It's a 4 T70 and BB8 list. So that math works because you have Heroes Poe.
And look,
not the black one Poe.
And look, they don't have automated targeting priority on anyone.
I know. Great. They actually put thought and effort into this list. So you got HOH Poe. You got Plasma Torps, R2D2, Predator, and Crackshot. You got LO with Predator, Crackshot. Snap Waxley with Crackshot, R68. Jess Pava with BB8 and Ferrosphere. And then BB8 with Larma Daisy. That is the one upgrade, the crew upgrade that lets you do, well, for BB8, it's essentially just do the jam action while stressed. Because the other ones are reinforce and coordinate, and he's not doing that. So,
well, I mean, you never know, right? Maybe he wants to,
and that's only 2 or fewer less tokens. So this is mostly a lot of jam and then a lot of crack shots.
So I like the crack shot call. I think the crack shot call makes sense, right? The question I have though is with that Poe is you're giving up those what are they Overtune
Overtune modulators?
thrusters.
Or overdrive
Overdrive
thrusters.
thrusters.
Yes.
Overdrive.
So is R2D2 in this build worth it? I mean, that makes that POE a lot more predictable. Because you ain't got very many blue maneuvers to take care of your reds.
Well, his ability's only every other turn, anyways, right? But yeah, man, I love Overdrive Thruster on HOH POE because you can still do like the focus and then do the 2-barrel roll.
Yep.
I
Get a weird bullseye shot, right?
I have done a fair amount of games because that gets you out of so many arcs. Just having that, because normally you can do like a focus roll and you're still getting clipped by the 45-degree angle. With the 2 straight, you aren't, unless it's like range 3 or something, right? But
Yeah.
I love, I love Overdrive Thruster. R2D2 is good. Regen is always good, especially because he's by far your most expensive piece.
So would you drop the plasmas or would you drop like the Predator crack shot to get Overtune?
I'd probably do like Heroic Overtuned instead of Predator Crack Shot. You lose out on just intrinsic mods, but the maneuverability options are super nice.
Yeah, especially with that POE being the POE that, it's the POE that you don't care if it lives as long. It's not designed to live forever. But with that ability like that, I mean, can you imagine doing that 2-barrel roll and then I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree on losing Crackshot, because with Crackshot, you're basically guaranteeing that your plasma torpedo is going to turn out to be like a proton torpedo at that point, right? Because especially if you're flying against a 3 agility ship that has shields,
You
that
can't
Crackshot can.
You can't crack shot a plasma torp. It's primary only.
Yeah.
Oh, it's primary only.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good point. Then yeah, no, get rid of the get rid of it.
I mean, typically you'd see like an R4 Astromech because people are set in their ways. So that still gives you like 4 points to work with the R2D2. So you can kind of take down Predator to Heroic and then run overdrive R4 Plasma Torp Crack Shot. But man, R2D2 is still really good. Even if you in like the niche things where you're just like your blue maneuvers aren't going to work, just drop the shield, get rid of that stress. It can come in handy occasionally.
Yeah.
All right. JJ, what is the number 4 list, which is the 7-ship CIS list that we see here?
So we got Dirge in the Rogue Class Starfighter. He's got Sync Laser Cannons, Marksmanship, and Contraband. Cad Bane with Elusive, Contraband, Xanadu Blood Title, and Sync Laser. DGS 286, which is the HMP droid with the stabilizers, munitions, failsafe, Discord missiles, and energy shell charges. DGS 047 with Kraken and the stabilizers. And then we got 3 vultures. We got Doofus, DFS 081 with Indy Calcs and energy shell charges, Iron Assembler with Indy Calcs and Discord missiles, and the Harshal prototype with Discord missiles and independent calculations to round off the list. I got to say, that is impressive to make it that deep with this list there. I mean, it's a lot of bodies there. You got all those Discord missiles that can also be a threat with, pushing out those crits onto those unsuspecting ships on there. And man, it's definitely a lot to deal with. It's a death by 1,000 cuts, but man, it could be very, very effective.
Yeah, I still think I go with Dirge with proton cannons instead on there. You won't be able to run. We lose Alex? We did. You will not be able to run the marksmanship per se, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you conceded
exactly.
because you didn't. They conceded. Oh, either which way, I still think that this list is pretty totes. Like I think personally for me, I would rather have Dirge with proton cannons, but that's just me. And Cad Bane, I can understand the sync lasers, but you could also put the proton cannons on Cad Bane, and with all these other ships, like either they want to focus on Cad Bane to kill him, or he's getting extra actions. I have 100% barrel rolled into a focus with Cad Bane and had a
A bullseye
evade,
shot.
evade barrel roll, like the bullseye,
Yeah.
and the focus, and because they killed some other ship. Unfortunately, it was like a Sun fact, so it wasn't super fun that they killed that ship. But like that was my own fault. But still, like Cad Bane, I do like the elusive though. I think elusive on Cad Bane could be good. I think the problem is with 7 ships, you can't use Lone Wolf. Otherwise, I'd say Lone Wolf would be a good thing for Cad. But that elusive on there isn't bad. I ran the Magpulse version with that, and it alternated between the Magpulse and the proton cannons for 4 turns. And by that point, you're 5 turns into the list, or into that game. And typically, if Cad Bane lives past 5 turns, he's probably not dying for that game.
I really wish
So
that there was a way to get a calculate token onto Dirge and Cad Bane, so that way Kraken can have him hold it, because that would be really good, right? Especially with Sync Laser Cannon. Imagine you line up a bullseye Sync Laser Cannon at range 3. I mean, you're denying their extra die, and you're denying their mods. That'd be super spicy. I like that.
yeah, unfortunately, we don't have the crew that Scum has. If we had like an IG-88 crew or
Yeah,
something like that,
IG88
like
crew, man, that would be so good.
Yeah, so think about it this way. So what is that? 3 points. You get that. Sync Laser Cannons is 6. So that's 9 points on Dirge.
Yeah.
You could put marksmanship. There you go, I guess.
I mean,
all right.
You could drop the proton, or drop 2 proton cannons. That gives you 2 points, and drop marksmanship and add the IG88 in there. Man, that'd be really good.
Then you wouldn't have the Sync Laser Cannon ability if you drop the proton cannons. You wouldn't need IG88.
Oh yeah. Yeah, good point. Maybe contraband. Maybe contraband instead. I don't know. Choices, man. Choices.
Yeah. But that's all a dream. I like this list. I think this list is pretty amazing. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give it a try.
It looks like a fun list to play with, at least.
Yeah, and the sneaky part of it too is Cad Bane's ability. If you're not aware what it is, when another friendly or when a ship dies, Cad can spend his charge to perform an action. I mean, you got 3 vultures in there that can potentially easily pop. So that could set up Cad Bane with a lot of different like actions there. I mean, if he's focused up, you can give him a target lock, or you could boost into a range or barrel roll into range. There's a lot of different things that you could do with Cad, especially with those droids being available to like proc his ability. So definitely really good.
Yeah. Yep. And I think the Harshal, whatever how the prototypes, if you're not stressed, you could get that target lock off on them, right? That is a possibility. And I don't know, like I guess the Iron Assembler makes sense, right? Because it doesn't die as easy typically if you're sitting on an obstacle.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's sad that 081, like it would be so much nicer if if we could have a second prototype on there, and you just stick them so that they're all on obstacles. And I don't know, that'd be kind of cool. Either which way, I think that's a pretty fun list to fly, and something we should be looking at, paying attention to. The next one comes to us from Play Kingdom out of Chile. We had 5 T70s win, of course, because why not, right? They had some interesting-ish lists in there. I don't have enough time to go over all of their lists. I guess this is crazy. This is a Chile. I did not know Chile even had I've never seen them in XCC. Are they in XCC? I just missed out on that. I don't think they are, right?
Not to my recollection. I've known a few Chilean players that participate in GSP events, but I don't think they've had their own team. But that could change.
Yeah, well, look, there's a bunch of them that play that could easily do that. So,
yeah.
So, Alex, what was the top list for this tournament?
It's 5 T70s, but they have different upgrades than you typically see. So the winner had Elo with R68 and Crackshot, Snap Wexley with Marksmanship and Shield Upgrade, Veniza Doza with Barrage Rockets Marksmanship, Jess Bava BB-8 Ferrosphere, and then Nimi with Shield Upgrade. So you kind of have the extra health on two of those T7. He's bringing them up to 8, which is a pain, especially when one of them's Nimi, and like you kind of want to kill her fast because her ability is super good, unless you have like a all I1 droid swarm somehow. But then you're probably not going to win that game anyways. But yeah, no, it's a cool list. Extra health's always really good. It's an interesting choice for Veniza. And yeah, that's cool. I enjoy it. It's not the worst T70 list out there. Like oppressive, I mean, so.
Now this is a pretty fair one,
Borderline wholesome.
Borderline. All right. JJ, what Republic list came in second?
Rebel. So we got Battle Yavin Luke with his standard load out there. Gina Moonsong making an appearance here in the B Wing with Swarm Tactics, Fire Control System, Proton Cannons, and the foils. Then we have Braylon Strom with Marksmanship, Ion Cannons, Plasma Torpedoes, and the foils. Then Oakland, the Battle Yavin version, making an appearance with Dorsal Turret, Advanced Proton Torpedoes, and Precise Astromech, and then Wedge Antilles in the A Wing with Marksmanship and Predator. Just taking a look at this list here, trying to think who I would Swarm Tactics. I mean, I guess probably Braylon, right?
I guess you can kind of Swarm Tactics any of them. Like Hall's not a terrible choice, especially if he's kind of caught in the middle, as one would assume with the Y-Wing that's trying to get their Advanced Proton Torpedo off, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming Braylon though, because you're probably keeping Gina by Braylon, so you can pass over the stress that Gina has, so Braylon can get his ability off.
Yeah. So does Braylon get to use his ability twice then with that stress?
Braylon's the reroll one, so
yes. As long as he has a stress, he does it on all his attacks
and defense.
I see.
Yeah.
So what's the one that spends the stress?
10 nub.
That's 10 nub. Yeah.
Oh. Is 10 nub one more point? If not, why not bring 10 nub in this list instead of Braylon?
He's the same cost as Braylon. It's really, it just depends on the preference. I think 10 nub has one more point of loadout value too over Braylon, but two. So it's just a play style choice, honestly. I think Braylon tends to be a little more accurate because you're able to reroll up to 2 dice. And that really helps offensive wise for Braylon. 10 num, he can only most likely reroll just the 1 with Fire Control System, and then he won't have any way to reroll his dice on the second attack. So Braylon tends to be just a little more accurate, whereas 10 num tends to be a lot more maneuverable because he has a greater chance to shred the stress to continue on pursuing the ship that he wants to take out.
But does Gina's ability say that the ship can't have stress?
No,
or no?
It's just transferred over.
It
so
just transfers.
If you had 10 nub in there, right? Gina could give him a second stress, and he'd have 2 sets of rerolls.
He would have he would only have just a single opportunity to reroll 2 dice either on attack or defense per opportunity.
Yeah, you don't spend your stress for Braylon.
Oh, okay.
If you're stressed, but Braylon tends to be a little bit more tanky because you can reroll your defense dice. 10 nub has to depend on getting a focus result. So Braylon's gonna, on average, gonna be more stressed than 10 nub. But Braylon tends to stick around more than 10 nub. But this Braylon, you don't need to do your barrel roll links, right? You can just straight joust people with the focus. Then Gina can pass over the stress if need be.
Gotcha. All right. Well, a little exciting seeing a non-Han list. What about that Wedge? Do you pick Wedge in this? I mean, because you could pick Keo, and you could have Sabine. you have like 3 choices here.
I'm assuming they were trying to go for like the initiative kind of thing, because they would all be I4s. Braylon, Hall, and Wedge are all I4, and then Gina and Luke are 5s.
Yeah, and the other piece of it too is that Wedge can potentially be a good closer. You know, if you're assaulting all the same target, Gina and Braylon can really soften up a ship, and Wedge can come in to be that finishing piece with his ability to reduce their defense and also crack shot as well. It's a great way to get the last 2 or potentially 3 hull into a ship to finish it off.
All right. This is a pretty scary jousting style list, right? You know,
Yeah.
I think you could take 3 of those ships and kind of put them together, and they can joust pretty hardcore. So
Yeah, you can do 4 ships if you want. Like Luke can joust, Y-wing can joust, the V-wings can joust.
sure.
So just do whatever you want. Have Wedge as a flanker.
Yeah. All right. Next one we have is from Tucson, Arizona. Am I allowed to say Tucson? Can I just do that instead? Tucson, Arizona. Tucson.
Tucson.
This one, John Grasser took down. They did a top cut as well, top cut of 4. For it, John Grasser took down him and Alex Farley. Were the 2 at the end, with pretty similar-ish lists. So we're only going to cover one of them. I did not go with the Rexler Brath list this week just because we covered that like the last 2 weeks in a row. But by the way, there's another defender in top cut.
Hey, making their appearance. Yeah.
All right. So the first list we have here is Rack with Ruthless, Death Troopers, Vader, Agile Gunner, Electronic Baffle, Dauntless, then build or pre-build Deathfire, pre-build Tomex Bren, and then Reimer with Barrage Rockets, Ion Bomb, Salvo, and then Faroff with Ruthless and 000 to capitalize on some of those Death Troopers aggression there. So this is a list we saw Andrew do very well with at not Nova. What was the most recent? PAX. It was PAX.
PAX, yeah.
Do very well at PAX with this list here. I kind of like it. I want to know, do we really think Ion Bombs is great for Reimer, or is there other builds for Reimer that we could be looking at?
I would take Ion Bombs all day.
Okay.
Yeah, especially with Death Troopers and Vader there, mainly because if you're able to, if your opponent's stressed, you can potentially force them to be in that range band of Death Troopers, and that prevents them from being able to shed their stress after they do an ion maneuver, which really allows Rack to take advantage of it and like punish that particular ship. So it's definitely a really good control piece if you could set up that Ion Bomb for Rack to take advantage of with Death Troopers.
Yeah, and having the double Ion Bombs with Reimer and Tomax is disgusting. I mean, also the counter net too. It's just the ion control. I know Grauberg, when we played in Rust Cup, I think he ioned like a Defender Vader 3 turns in a row.
I bet that Defender Vader was not happy.
Oh man,
So
that's
it was brutal. I'm not sure if he like actually did a lot of damage. It was mostly just kind of like, well, Defender Vader's not in the fight right now, so I can eat up on the rest of the pieces kind of thing. But that's still a valid strategy, right? Like,
yeah,
it takes pieces out of the board for a while.
Yeah, I played recently with Defender Vader, and that's the same thing. The only damage done to Vader was when I went through the obstacles, right? But at the same token, you know, like once Vader got ioned or wasn't able to do the maneuvers he wanted, he just wasn't effective. And there's 9 points of garbage sitting on the board, you know. And Vader doesn't want to be range 3 of everything.
Yeah.
Especially when you're throwing 3 dice against 3 agility ships or 4 agility ships nowadays, right? Like, yeah, I converted, you know, a blank to a hit and I have a hit crit, but somebody just rolled 3 eyeballs or an evade and 2 eyeballs, or like I'm only going to take 1 damage. It's not as effective as people think. I think Vader Defender could go down in some points a little bit there. Just saying. All right, let's move on to the next list. Alex, what in God's green earth is this rebel list? And should we be flying this? Because they took Captain Rex, a 3-point Captain Rex, a 3-point TIE fighter over Wedge.
I'll tell you why after you read it down. So go ahead.
So yes. So because you haven't played 1.0, you haven't seen something like this before. But this is bringing back
Silly,
bad
but
memories.
gross.
Bad memories. So this list is Kanan Jarrus in the VCX with heightened perception, the ghost title, because you can. Saw Gerrera, Chopper, VTG, Dorsal, and Baffle. You got Captain Rex with shield upgrade. You got Rourke Garnett in the Hawk with Moldy Crow, Perceptive Co-Pilot, and Debris Gambit, which is kind of cool. Just charge up your Moldy Crow in 1 turn. Next turn, just keep doing evades.
Yeah.
And then you got Boy Luke. And if it's anything like I assume it's going to be, you Rourke Garnett Captain Rex up all the way to I7 and then shoot first and tell people, haha, you have to shoot Captain Rex. Here's 1 less die for you because I have Kanan, who can also be an I7 as well.
For people who are not familiar with Captain Rex, he's an I2 pilot on the TIE fighter, and his ability is when he performs an attack, he assigns a condition card, which is, I believe, suppressive fire. Which allows which essentially affects that ship to force them to attack Rex, or if they attack somebody else, they roll 1 less attack die. And when you combine that with the power of Kanan Jarrus, they lose another attack die on top of that. So your 3 or 4 die, your 3 die primary or your 4 die proton torpedo, all of a sudden turns into a 2 die attack versus Kanan and Rex and Rourke and all these people. And since they're both attacking at I7, they're going to hit you back first, or they're going to hit you first before you can do any damage to them. So it is a very sneaky list. It is absolutely great. I'm excited to see something like this coming out from Rebels and actually do really, really well. I mean, what a way to neuter an offense, man.
So who's going to be that one guy that calls the judge and just be like, Captain Rex's ability doesn't work? Because his card says Caption Rex.
Yes.
They never fixed it, and no one cares. I don't even think it's in like the errata. It just says Caption Rex.
Man,
yes.
What judge would ever honor that?
No one.
Judge.
But it'd
nobody.
Be hilarious.
You'd be like, no, that's not how that. I don't even know if I have a Captain Rex card.
If you have a Rebel conversion kit, you do.
Okay, yeah. Maybe I do then. All right.
Yeah.
So how do you just kill Rourke Garnett? Is that just what you do? Like,
he's focused, double focus evaded, right? And then you're losing 2 dice shooting at him.
Yeah.
And Luke, you lose an extra die shooting at him, or 2. If everything's going right.
Yeah, right, you don't justice
you have
list
to kill
at all.
Captain Rex.
Yeah. He's got 3. He's probably gonna have an evade token, and he's gonna have 3 dice, and he's gonna be buffed by Kanan by reducing your attack by 1. So, I mean, you gotta really focus on that initiative 2 TIE fighter, or just try to outfly them and try to get around that big base arc of the Ghost and hope that you don't get hit.
Basically, you just try to make sure Captain Rex doesn't shoot you, so you don't get the condition.
All right, I want to see this in play. Okay, would this destroy a rack list, like that rack bomber list there? Like, does this do really well into that? Because
man, Vader crew just eats things alive though. Can eat racks.
All right, that's fair.
But I mean, remember at I7, it's taking 2 shots. One of them is a 4 to 5 die shot from Kanan Jarrus, who has Saw Gerrera, which turns all his focuses into crits. And once you start chewing into the whole of rack, I mean that could easily go down really fast. The same could be said for Kanan as well, but more than likely, Kanan's gonna have Chopper to provide him that reinforce.
All right. So
So
I need my Worlds invite, and this is what I want to run at Worlds because this looks like
You
a
are
dick
going to give
list.
people PTSD.
Like this
yeah,
is a this is a dick list right here.
This is literally like people ran something very similar in 1.0 list.
I don't care. You know what? It's like a year too late. Why could I not run this last year? You know what? Somebody look up the points. I want to know if the points make sense last year. I want to know if you could run this list at Worlds last year. Because
no, you couldn't have, because
Why?
Kanan was like 2 points more expensive last year.
Okay. All right.
Well, and boy, Luke was a point more, and I think Rourke was
yeah, that
also
too.
a point more.
All right.
Yeah.
Sean, this is a Sean list right here. I just messaged Sean in the Discord. Sean, if you're listening or if you ever listen to our podcast, this right here, this is the list you should be running. If you hate meta lists, run this list and don't play against me, hopefully. But seriously, like if I get an invite, I will be very tempted to just run this list just because it looks like a lot of fun. It reminds me of like Kanan, Boba Eamon, except for without bombs.
Yes. Yeah. It really does have that same spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll have 3 months to practice it. So there you go. Somebody give me an invite. Just give me an invite so I don't even have to win it and let me run that list. I will not do well at Worlds. I guarantee it. I just hope to piss some people's days off. That's all.
You just have to find someone who's never played 1.0, and they're going to be like, oh,
Well,
what's
that's me.
going on? How can this be? Yeah, I know. And then just do that.
Well, now I know the trick. Kill Rex or outmaneuver Rex.
Or
Yeah.
really, really convince the judge that because they have never errated this card, they must clearly mean this is the intention. They did it with Mace Windu.
Yeah, I was gonna say
They can do
Mace
it
with
with this
CLT.
Clearly, that is AMG's intention is to make it so Captain Rex doesn't work.
Oh my god. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Greece Innkeepers tournament. I don't know if that's the name of the store or not, but it was in Greece. I would like to go to Greece and fly some X-Wing. Had another similar-ish list that we've kind of seen, but with a new twist. We had, what's his name? Old Jester took down the tournament in a top cut of 4 with a resistance list. JJ, what is this list? Why? And we have Chewbacca. Chewbacca.
My boy.
Yeah, that's right. So we got Elo
There's no
with
Notorious either.
You can't
exactly.
You can't Ray Gunner or Notorious at the same time.
Yeah, no, you can't. Yeah, not enough points. So we got Elo with Marksmanship, Heroic, and Advanced Optics. Timon with R68. That's the Bullseye Reroll Droid with HLC. Just Papa with M9G8 and Baffle, and then Chewbacca in the Millennium Falcon with Trick Shot, Ray Gunner, Engine Upgrade, and the Race Millennium Falcon title, and then BB-8 again with Larma Darcy. That is the second appearance of Larma Darcy that we've seen
People
so
in
far.
Europe, man.
Yeah,
In
man,
Chile.
I'm telling you, they love their jams. They definitely love the jam.
All right. I like that Chewbacca. Do you drop Ray Gunner and go with Notorious though? Or is Ray
No.
Gunner just that much better that you
Ooh,
can't go without
It's a tough
it?
call. It's a tough call. Like Ray Gunner makes Chewbacca hit hard. You don't do Trick Shot though, like at all.
Yeah, I would say
not the call.
probably a better crew, right?
Yeah, you could do Dead Man Novice Tech,
Yes,
which is fun because Chewbacca's ability lets you boost into range 1 and then blow up with Dead Man because they're all the same trigger.
Yes, that'd be great. Yeah,
But
And you
I
take
mean-
it a shot too, right?
yeah, boost to range 1, get a revenge shot, and then also blow up, which is hilarious.
I imagine you try to fly past your opponent with Chewie, right, to get behind them, and then make them face off against the wall of T-70s, and then just have Chewbacca just take pot shots from the side.
Yeah, it just kind of depends on like your flying style. You could take Ray off if you want and replace it with like Contraband Notorious, and then you can still have room for like Agile.
Yeah.
You have like Dead Man, Novice Tech, all that kind of stuff. That's how I've run Chewbacca lately. But man, not having that Ray Gunner does feel bad because you don't really. Well, I guess you have M9G8, so you can M9G8 Chewbacca, so you can actually deal
Just
some
get your
meaningful
rerolls
damage.
that way.
Yeah, because Elo has optics, which is dangerous at I5.
Yep.
So he's got mods. Snap has mods. Jess Pava intrinsically has mods, and then BB-8 exists. But what are they going to do? Kill BB-8? Then Chewbacca's going to kill him, right? So
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you would
so-
probably M9G8 Chewbacca, right, to make sure that
Right.
he gets the reroll.
right.
Yeah.
So
Alright.
that makes sense. Then you don't really need Ray.
So
Just
I have a
luxury.
question. This is a dumb question with Chewbacca, but so when you run your novice tech, right, and you have to flip the card, you have to roll the dice, and then you have to flip a card. Do you shuffle your cards, or can you pick whatever card you want?
You have to do it randomly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
So-
cannot just keep flipping over the direct hit to kill yourself.
Yep. So could you imagine flipping over a direct hit, then boosting, getting a bonus shot, and dying, and then killing something at the end of the round? Like that's such a dick move. Like, oh, could you imagine it being the last round of the game too? Like, oh, you killed like my Chewbacca's on one health. I'm novice teching this. Oh, look, I rolled a crit. I'm done. I'm gonna flip. I have a probability of flipping my direct hit. Oh man, that would be so dirty.
I mean, you used to do it like with Just Arrow. I've done it, right? You fly over a rock, you have Dead Man and Just Arrow, so you fly over a rock, you die, they get Dead Manned, that triggers Just Arrow's ability, and you can shoot him again.
Yeah, I've actually,
You can
I think
Arrow's
there's
Baffle too.
there was one game on Nickel City where they did that. They had I think a double trigger or something like that. Well, they flew over a rock and killed 2 ships that were just at the edge of range 1. Oh my god, that was like one of the funniest things on Nickel City. Love it.
All right.
If you have Baffle on Chewbacca, you can do it.
That's
Oh, yeah.
Instead of Novice Tech, you can just deal damage yourself with
But you give up the
Baffle.
engine upgrade though. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Netflix. Alex, what was the top 3-in-1 list that came in? There's a new ship on there that I am confused about, so that's why I gave it to you.
So it's kind of a 5T70 list ish. So you have Snap Waxley with R68 HLC, Elo with Marksmanship Heroic HLC, Jess Pava with R2D2, Zori with Concussion Bombs, Plasma Torps Wartime Loadout, and then the other I4 A-Wing that no one ever takes, Sefton Vanek with Elusive and Prockets. His ability is that he's I5, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he has an ability. It can come up. It's after he boosts, he can transfer one evade token to a friendly ship at range 1, which is really convoluted to trigger. And then also you're giving up your own evade, and that was like your action, right? Because there's no other way of coordinating things. So you just throw away a shot to give one of your tanky T70s an evade. Yeah, he's an I5 with Prockets, which is always fun. You're not getting double mods, but spike damage is always good. And it is kind of funny to have an A-Wing and also Zori, because people forget that you could just have Zori boost.
Yeah. All right. The next one we have is Brew Wizards in Canada, and it's by other things. So just want to make sure I'm not saying Canada is smaller than Michigan. I get yelled at all the time for that. So the winning list is Boy Vader, Soontir with Lone Wolf and Juke, Deathfire, Major Rhymer, but this time with seismics and delayed fuses instead of ions. And build your own Tomax Bren with barrage and bomblet generator and set salvo. So here we have 3 bombers, Soontir and Vader, doing decently well. I'm assuming that Soontir did not die. because of the lone wolf and the juke. I don't know. What do you think, boys?
I mean,
can see this archetype makes splashes occasionally. Wasn't like Pete Lambro? Wasn't he flying something very similar, or at least the same kind of ships? So it's popping up here and there. I actually almost considered it for a later segment. But if you're good, you got a couple I6s.
Yeah, this is definitely a much more aggressive list, right? Because you have Boy Vader, which intrinsically his ability allows him to be a lot more accurate, being able to spend the Force to convert results. He has a very high accuracy in terms of like putting in shots there. Soontir Fel with that lone wolf juke, you're almost always taking that evade with Soontir anyway in your I6, or more than likely you're always going to have that juke available. So you can, if you come at a ship from the sides, you can set up that juke first to make sure that they spend their token, and then have Vader come in for that accurate shot to punish that, and then they have to deal with the resulting attacks from Reimer, Brent, Tomax, and Deathfire launching those bombs in the first place. So you can like really set up a good web if you plan it out right. Definitely a very good aggressive style list there. Just interested to see how they actually play the objectives as well. Typically, they don't do too well for some of the other objectives because they're kind of focused on taking their actions, namely Vader. Vader always wants to take his target lock. Soontir always wants to take his evade token to for defense and to also trigger juke. So just interested to see how they did with objectives.
All right, and the next one is a Republic list coming to us.
So we got Padme Amidala in the N1 Starfighter with R2D2. That's new with elusive and plasma torpedoes. We got Rick Alley with R4P Astromech, elusive and swarm tactics. And then we got some beef coming in here. We got Oddball in the Y Wing with R4 Astromech, veteran tail gunner, munitions failsafe, swarm tactics, plasma torpedoes, and dorsal turret. Got Matchstick in the Y Wing as well with R4 Astromech, seismic charges, expert handling, and dorsal turret. And then Slider coming in with marksmanship and expert handling, and then Broadside with R4 Astromech, seismic charges, expert handling, and dorsal turret to round off the list. So you got two appearances here of swarm tactics. I'm assuming one of them would be for Padme to make her shoot at I5. And then Oddball has the chance to either do it with Matchstick or Broadside if they're flying together as well. So you get shots at I5. And you have a ton of health to go through between the three Y Wings, and then trying to catch Rick Ollie and Padme after all that as well. So definitely really, really interesting list.
Do you think the question I have is, do you honestly think the elusive is worth it on them?
Yes.
I mean, you can't run past the sensors, I guess. But how often do you turn around with a Naboo?
I mean, there are times where you know that your opponent can't turn around, specifically if you're dealing with bombs like seismic charges and stuff. Your opponent may decide to try to avoid the bombs, and that's where you have your opportunity to go in there. Even if you're using elusive once, if it can help your N1 survive, I mean, they only have 5 hull total or 5 health total. That could potentially help them live long enough to shoot for another round. So it's just having that chance at a defensive bonus with an evade token.
Elusive works well with like R4P. I wouldn't run it without R4P for the Naboos because you can still do like the Talon roll, then the blue 3 hard, and that really helps.
Yeah.
All right. On to the last one. The last one we have here is called Wookiee Life Day, which is, I'm guessing, the name of the tournament and not the name of the store. But if that's the name of the store, genius store name. And I will visit that store someday in my life. But I'm guessing that's the name of the tournament, but whatever. So this was in the UK. Alex, what did Mark Hughes run that touches your heart in places it shouldn't?
So the more impressive thing is that this is the third Mark Packer Hughes list you've had me read.
Yep.
3 out of 3.
Yes.
'Cause he was my opponent twice in NCX as well. I
Nice.
can't shake this guy. It's great. Yeah, so he ran Lando in the Resistance with Ray, the title, C3PO, and Contraband. People should know my opinion about that by now. Take off Ray, do better things. 9 Nub with Proton Torps, Heroic R4, which is awesome. Don't want the double action. I can just shoot an I5 Proton Torpedo. Elo with Plasma Torps, Heroic Marksmanship. And then Snap Wexley with Advanced Proton Torpedoes. This list hits super hard. And Lando gives everyone double mods. And Elo, 9 Nub, Lando, they're all I5. You roll up, Elo double modded Plasma Torp, 9 Nub double modded Proton Torpedo, Lando shot, and then if you're really good, you get an Advanced Proton Torpedo shot with Snap. And you should wonder why your opponent hasn't died yet after all those shots at that point.
Yeah, so that would be four die. So that would be 4. So let's say they all hit. You'd have 4 and 4. That'd be 8. Plus, let's say Lando does 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. And Temin with 5 is 16 damage you could do if you really hit with everything. So the question I have is, how much health does Rack have? Can you one round a Rack with this?
Depending
You got
on
to get
your
lucky
crit
with the
training.
crits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, here's my question, right? Because obviously they're going for the Alpha Strike on this. Would it make sense for Temin, instead of running Temin, to run Tally with a Proton Torpedo?
No.
Tally's a little bit awkward with Lando's ability. Because you probably you can focus and then do like a lock link boost, but generally, because it's 4 ships already, you kind of need some bulk in there. Like, I know Tally has a defensive ability, but I think Snap is just a bulkier piece and just as good on objectives, right? Because you get the boost. And then just natively has that 3 attack dice for follow-up shots.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. It's a fun list. I'm not sure if I'd fly it.
I
don't know. It looks kind of fun.
I don't have to message him on Discord and tell him that he's flying the wrong Lando.
You can hit him up. You can tell him to join the show. Let's have a conversation about why his Lando's incorrectly. Because the next list, and I'm going to give this one to Alex, not just because it has Lando in it, but because he has the same name as you. But there is another, and this has 2 Falcons in it for Rebel. Alex, what did Big Boy run?
Yeah, Alex B, baby. Okay, so you got Han with Perceptive, Bistan, and Trickshot. No title. Because it's on
title's
Lando.
on Lando.
Right. So Lando with 9 Nub, K2SO, Agile, False Transponder Codes, Engine, and Hopeful. Which is fine. Like, I like the 9 Nub, I like the K2SO, I like Agile Gunner on Lando. The engine's probably not necessary because you can just do that twice and you're going to be doing, or you just do that last, right? And you're doing a blue maneuver anyways.
And you just do Trick Shot. You get rid of Hopeful and upgrade Engine to Trick Shot.
The false transponder code's a little bit suspect there too. You can probably find something better for like the 9 points that you're doing there. But there's room to experiment. And then you got Build Your Own Lebo?
Yep.
It's a 3-ship list.
Yep.
This has false transponder codes as well, rigged cargo, ablative, and trick shot, and the Outrider title. K2SO actually works pretty well with Lebo, just so you can pass the calculate, and Lebo can do another action like lock or barrel roll. I mean, the lock's actually pretty nice, but you're doing it at I3, so it's a little bit awkward. The rig's a little bit unnecessary. I do like either like the feedback array kind of style or Notorious or like Dead Man Switch. I've seen too. I like the Notorious Lebo. But yeah, I mean, Lando's a lot of flexibility, and then Han is Han. There's two ships in one. So, Trick Shot, you can kind of see with the extra rig cargo chute. So maybe they're trying to go for that. Maybe they only own one copy of Engine Upgrade and put it on the wrong Falcon. Who knows? Yeah, occasionally I've seen people play like a triple large base Rebel list before. That's okay.
I know you told me before 2 YT70s. Yeah, the new YT1300s are now YT70s. By the way, folks, it's where you take the pilot ability from the Poe and you put it with a YT1300. But anyway, you told me before 2 YT1300s are not viable no matter what. And here they look to be somewhat viable.
I don't think they're good.
I'm really interested to see how they actually played this year. And here's a consideration here. Would you consider giving up false transponders, engine upgrade, and agile gunner to get Ezra gunner for a second shot on Lando?
You would not be using it for the second shot because you'd be losing the game at that point. But yeah, like a force is pretty nice. Typically, you would see like a K2SO9 nub Ezra build. I've seen that before. Also, another thing now that I think about it is Lando can just Lando ability Lebo the false transponder goes at I5, so you can actually double jam at I5.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, and then Lebo can do Lebo things. I don't know what else Lebo would do. Like just take the calculate, right? But you have K2SO, but you can use that on Lando. Maybe that's why they brought the engine upgrade. Because
I mean, okay,
K2SO,
but you got to take the stress when you take the calculate, which means
right.
Lebo's going straight. That's it, nothing more.
He's got one banks, but
yeah, okay, yeah.
Maybe that's why they brought the engine upgrade on Lando because they're K2SOing themselves the entire time.
Probably give themselves a soft mod there. I don't know.
Would you consider running this, Chris, if it was a Fangs Out tournament?
Yes. Yes, I would run that list. I would run that list whether it's that or not, just because I've always wanted Lebo to be good. And I would not run that Han. I don't think I would run that Trick Shot Han personally. I think the other Han with Chopper is a little bit more my speed. But now give me Leia at 6 points and I'll run 3 Falcons, baby. I ain't got to worry about green agility dice because I ain't got none.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's move on for our Academy 101 segment tonight. We are going to do a discussion on what list to be on the lookout for. Tonight, Alex wanted to have a conversation about incoming lists that, I don't know, are probably something you should be concerned about. There is definitely mechanics inside of them that are a little bit different than other ones, and he thought it would be a good idea to have a conversation about it. So, Alex, take it away.
Yeah, so these lists have been popping up here and there, and some of them are actually been like really successful. They've like won things. A lot of these have topped other major events. So I kind of wanted to go through if you're tired of the meta right now, or if you have practiced against the meta a lot and really good at killing the meta, you can bring these lists, and people haven't practiced against them most likely. And they're still really good. The meta's always evolving over time, right? So these might even counter. You might have tried this way early in the season, and it wasn't good then, but it's good now. So I did one for every faction. The first one I want to talk about is your, kind of classic Heratani list here. It is really rough target priority, which is what I love. So this is Hera on the A-Wing, Hopeful Magballs. You got Boy Luke. You got Bodica with Predator, Mando Optics, and Beskar. You got Sabine with Beskar, and then you got Benthic with Hopeful, Perceptive, and Generso. And you can just spread the evades around. Everyone can have mods. Luke can have an evade, which is super useful if you don't always roll paint with Luke. And then, like, Bodica's in there, just doing a lot of work because you can shoot at Bodica, which is fine, but if you're range 1, Bodica can have the Concordia face-off ability and, like, get an evade from Hera. And that's a pain. The whole Luke shenanigans with Hera, where you can instinctive aim and then pass the lock off with Hera, and it's just really tanky, and it can hit really, really hard. So if you have a lot of people in your meta who are really good at killing Hans, or if you don't want to fly Han, or I don't know, you hate Millennium Falcons, this is always a solid alternative. And if people don't realize some of the really deep tricks it can do, that's really bad for them.
I think that this also is a very good hard counter versus Rack because the list doesn't tend to stress itself out too much. And the other part of it is that, as long as you have Benthic out in the clear in an area where he can still, take his double focuses there, you could get around the focus bump for stress if you're going into the decimator by simply passing one of Benthic's focuses over to that ship if they really need it. And this also helps provide tokens out to help prevent the Vader damage out there as well, and help deal with that particular rack. And then at the same time, Hera at Isaac shooting that mag pulse warhead, especially at rack, you're going to be taking out that reinforce. You're going to be dealing a crit, hopefully to unshielded rack by that point, and the rest of your list can go in and really focus fire onto rack. And if rack fires back, if he's not targeting Bodica is going to get that revenge shot and deal even more damage into rack. So this list can absolutely go toe to toe with rack and come out on top.
Yeah, and you can go into that engagement with a double modded mag pulse if you have Benthic pass over the focus.
Yep.
So it's a utility list. I like these kinds of lists. A lot of built-in like redundancies and control style for all that kind of stuff.
All right, let's go to the next one. The next one is, where has Boy Vader been?
So yes, this popped up at PAX. Like Paul Heaver, Jeremy Chambly, Chris Allen have been playing it. And this list is just, it hits so hard, right? So you have Boy Vader. So you don't have to buy the starter pack for that. It's got Boy Vader. It's got standard loadout, no max. It has Rack with Ruthless, Tua, Death Troopers, Agile Gunner, Cluster Mines, Baffle, and the title. And then you also have Fair-Off with Ruthless and 000. And this list is basically designed just to really hit as hard as you can and wipe things right off the board. The Tua letting you, when you're damaged, do the red reinforce. So you can actually take your action like a target lock, most likely, or you could do a focus, but like the target lock's kind of what you want because Rack has an ability to convert the focus result to a crit, and then have Tua give it the reinforce for said thing. It's also at the start of engagement, so you can see where your most shots are coming in and then reinforce that side. And then cluster mines are, any mine is really, really good on Rack. Bombs, you kind of tend to hit yourself But mines, anyone following you just eats extra damage. And then you still have
Tries to fly over you too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you still have Faroff, who's a pain to kill, has triple zeros, or just calculate ruthless half the time. Right? It's just a pretty accurate, pretty just in your face, decimate anything. Pun intended. Um, just hits super, super, super hard.
Yeah, this list definitely works really, really well against those ARC 170s there. You can easily burn down, an ARC 170 in a turn, especially with that boy Vader being able to pretty much print 3 hits constantly with his ability. And then this rat coming in, most likely, pretty much double modded, and then being able to drop bombs that they go past you. This list can really do a lot of work there. And then the other part of it too is the ion bombs on there. You're able to provide a lot of control. If you're able to get that ion bombs off and then get them within range of Death Troopers, especially if those ships are stressed again, you're able to get rack in there, prevent their stress removal, and just finish off that list there. So definitely really, really strong.
Despite being like a 4-ship list, this is 36 health.
Yeah.
There's still a lot to go through. Granted, Rack has 0 agility, but he has the reinforce. Faroff is basically always going to get that evade. The only thing that's kind of, going against you is that you're going to be ruthlessing Rack and Faroff a lot. You're going to ruthless each other, but you're going to have 3 to 4 hits every shot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the thing that scares me the most about this list is scenario play. Because like assault, you're probably fine. Assault, you don't care about. But like boxes, you're not picking boxes up, right? Like unless you're Vader, I guess.
Well, I mean,
Vader.
you do have Vader who can naturally get that crit off.
Same with
and
Rack.
you got
Rack also generates crits.
Yeah. And if you're tossing ion bombs against opponents that can't move, you're going to guarantee that they can't. They're not going very far, and guarantee those kills onto those ships.
That's what I'm saying. You have to aggro it. You're not going to do the other piece of it. You're not picking up crates.
Oh yeah. You're just. I mean that your opponent doesn't matter if they pick up a crate if they're dead, right? Like. Even if they get 2 rounds of carrying a crate and you kill their 4-point ship, it's still kind of a loss for them.
Fair enough. All right. The next one we have is a scum list for Fangs and Bossk.
Yes. So this has popped up occasionally. I believe Cam Murray also played a version of this at some point. This is Fenn Rau, Fearless Beskar, and Burnout Thrusters. It's the less aggressive Fenn Rau, but you kind of want those Burnout Thrusters because you don't have backup. You just have other fangs. And then you have Joy Rakoff with Beskar and Ion Torps. I don't know why they gave him a missile slot. I think it just confuses people because his ability only works on Ion Torps.
Yeah.
But he can become a little mini wedge. Kaz Solus with Fearless Beskar and Baffle. You're almost never going to use that Baffle, but you have 2 points left over. And you have the Mandalorian Royal Guard, whose ability is actually blank because you do not have a medium or large ship, but they're all I4, and that just has Fearless and Beskar. And then you got Bossk because you have 2 points left over, Marksmanship and Dead Man because you kind of want to milk as much damage as you can out. And this is just kind of please joust me. Here, I'm going to do a lot of damage with Fangs.
So my question on this one is, would you probably switch out the Mandalorian Royal Guard for like Cad Bane, for instance? Like a Latrazi Sync?
You can. I mean, like personally, I wouldn't run this list because I'm not a big fan of Fangs, but it has been popping up and actually doing pretty well in other places. And if you're good at flying Fangs, you got 4 of them. I think the 4-ship Fang list, because you have Fenrau, is a lot better than the 5-ship Fang list, which I've seen occasionally. It's it can do work. Like if your greens are solid, you can do a lot, and that Beskar really helps with a lot of things that generate crits nowadays. So that Beskar helps. But I wouldn't say there's really. This is probably my weakest argument for an upcoming Scum list, just because Scum's in such a weird situation that no one's bringing anything close to the kind of the same lists around, let alone having success here and there. So,
I mean, they should be bringing your Scum list with Afro Man. They should.
People have been, and that's not really going too well for them. Other than Andrew Oler, who is Andrew Oler, right? So he's really, really, really good. Other than that, most of the people I've seen have gotten like in the low 30s. But yeah, this is kind of a cool list. I know in Fenrau, if Fenrau's dice hold up, ooh, no other ship in the game hits as hard as he does.
Yeah.
All right. Next one up is an I3 list. What is this?
So this is the more common version of like the Lando builds for Resistance, because people realize that now that the T-70s went down to 4 and you have Y-Wings back at 3 again, you can actually build Lando lists. The Lando has people you can actually do things with. So Lando has C-3PO, Rey, should be contraband, mistakenly put over to modulators, should be contraband, and the title, just like as you saw with Mark Packer Hughes. Then you got LO with heroic marksmanship, mag pulse, and munitions failsafe. That I5 double modded mag pulse really helps, especially because most of your list is below the I5 threshold. You got Liga and Shaza, the two I3 Y-Wings. Both have wartime. Liga has diamond boron missiles because they gave her a native missile slot. And then Shaza has plasma torps and dorsal. And then you have Chorus Capellum, the I1, steal your green token Y-Wing with dorsal, wartime, and cluster missiles. So it's like kind of a delayed alpha strike, right? Like you shoot the mag pulse with Elo, try to neuter something coming in, or control something, knock a reinforce off rack or something, and then Lando has a shot, and then you shoot the plasma torps, the diamond borons, and the cluster missiles all at once. And the Y-Wings shouldn't be getting alphaed off the board. They have 9 health, 5 of which are shields, so they'll stick around. And worse comes to worse, you can always boost them at I5 with Lando, which is hilarious. Especially because 2 of them have dorsal.
Yeah, I mean, the only sad thing about this is, I guess you could still be double modded because it's Lando, right? You still can be if you want to be. I do. So the question with Shaza, like, is there a reason you don't take clusters as well on her? Is it just because you want to strip the extra shield on a ship?
Yeah, I think the plasmas are just really nice, just to do the extra little damage with that, and you don't necessarily have to shoot the same target that Lando and Elo do, right? Like Shaza is the same initiative as Liga, so Shaza can shoot first with the plasma torps, and then you can have the diamond boron missiles come in, and then the clusters. So it's kind of like you can lead with that, or Elo can sneak the crit in, but that's not a lot of damage, right? So they probably still have shields because it's only one.
Yeah, you're using Elo more for that control piece with the mag pulse, right? Like it's really you're on it, because normally you would not put mag pulse on Elo almost ever. But in this list, it makes sense because you're saying, hey, I want to preactively strip your token. And if you're a heavy hitter, force you to take a deplete. Like you're not going to affect an I6, but you're going to affect everything else,
And then, getting the double mods with Lando's ability, right? For the double mod of Magpulse really helps. You have failsafe in there. If you need it, you can just dead fire it without a focus. But, worst comes to worst, Lando coordinates one ship and uses his ability on himself, and then he's got to calculate Locke and Rey. So
Yeah.
he should be hitting really hard. Generally, you don't need to use the ability on him with Rey and a coordinate.
And the good part about it too is wartime loadout. A lot of people tend to forget that when they have that wartime loadout, they basically turn into world-class starfighters, right? You get into those bullseyes, and all of a sudden you can't cancel crits, which can be very, very strong, especially if you're taking shots from that borons and clusters and such. That could be a really, really big factor there.
So I have a real quick question. I know we talked about wartime before. If one of the Y-Wings gets bullseye, does it apply to all of them, or only the one that has bullseye?
Only the one that has bullseye. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not overpowered in that aspect then.
Yeah.
No, it's just if you happen to roll a crit, annoyingly, it's going through.
Gotcha. The next one is an FO list, and this one is a little bit of a variant. It is not obviously the force ship list that we've been seeing Cody run. We can't call that an up and comer because there's only like 2 people, maybe 3 that have run that list at all. So Alex, what is this list? So I see you chose Von Reg over Blackout, and we have DT 798 in there instead of Midnight. Go ahead.
This is more popular, sadly, than like the Blackout Midnight version that I know you and I prefer.
Yeah, and I won't lie and tell you,
Von Reg.
Von Reg is amazing. Like, Von Reg is so much fun to fly. Like, it's just, I'm sorry, a 1 hard blue is like, whoever thought, like, why can my silencers not have 1 hard blues? Like, oh man, that would be so awesome. I'd love it. I'd love that so much. But
I'll give you shield upgrade. Von Reg is cool. So I don't get entirely one shot. But yes, so this is Von Reg. He has marksmanship, lone wolf, deuterium power cells, and Magpulse. Give him the nice 6 Magpulse out there. You got Malorus with Magpulse. You got LeHughes with Proud Tradition, Pattern Analyzer, Special Forces Gunner. Getting that Pattern Analyzer, Lock or Evade, and then using your standard action for the Proud Tradition. Then you have Kylo in the Whisper. This one, popular, has Instinctive Aim, Brilliant Evasion, Concussion Missiles, Optics, and the Config. And then you got DT 798 with Deuterium Power Cells. You're seeing DT pop up a lot more. That people realize that Deuterium Power Cells has another ability that doesn't just regenerate a shield. They realize that you can trade the strain off DT for a stress. Kind of turn him into Scorch. But depending on the situation, right? If there's high initiative ships, you don't ever need to take the stress, and then it becomes a shield upgrade. If they have a lot of low agility or lower initiative ships like Padme Triple Arc, right, and then you can just take the stress. So you get some flexibility in there. And also you have an I6 double mod in Magpulse and an I5 double mod in Magpulse and an I5 jam. So you really don't get a lot of actions out of here. And all the ships kind of operate independently as well, which is a really nice feature about this list. Yeah. There's 0 tethering.
Yeah, I will say, like, the Kylo has the option to have that fanatical instead of the Brilliant Evasion, which I prefer, just personally. Like, then I can be a lot more aggressive with Kylo. And I will tell you, I have 100% rolled 3 dice on a concussion missile and gotten a hit, an eyeball, and a blank, and had fanatical active and been able to convert all of those. And that's pretty dope.
That'd be cheating. Fanatical's only primary attack.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it's only primary.
It's okay.
All right.
People do it all the time.
Yeah. Nobody caught me. No one caught me.
No, but I agree. I hate brilliant innovation with a passion. I went on a long rant about that on the other podcast. But yes, like I would prefer fanatical. I can see an argument for proud tradition as well, especially because you have optics. So if you do the red maneuver, you can still have the instinctive aim, optics, concussion missile active. Um, but the vast majority of the people bring brilliant innovation because apparently the vast majority of the people just roll paint on all their green dice no matter what. But not evades. just focuses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
this
never
is a
works for me. So
I have only triggered it with ships that convert blanks to focus results.
And I'm still a fan of barrage rockets on Hughes over the pattern proud.
I agree. I like that range 3 out the back.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's not a lot of like target locking. I mean, you have like Von Reg, but Von Reg's probably spending the lock. Same with Malorus, so you're not using LeHugh's ability to like re-roll though like the barrage rockets. Like you don't have like a midnight in here or like one of the silencers. Like Kylo can do it, but how like Kylo doesn't generally take the lock, right? Because you're not linking that into a jam. So you don't get as many opportunities for LeHugh's as LeHugh's just operating independently, doing like a one hard lock focus. So I can see an argument for it. I still prefer the barrage rockets.
yeah, I do too. But I think the difference is what you want to do with your LeHugh's. I will tell you, my LeHugh's barrage rocketed out the butt sometimes will roll hit blank blank, and then you just go, it's a sad LeHugh's. But I don't know. I don't know. For me, the LeHugh's with the pattern analyzer, like it just means you're going to be extremely aggro with it, or you have to be. Like you have to be a lot more aggressive with that one. And I don't know. I still would go with the. I don't know if I would go with proud tradition either. After I don't know. Maybe I would because nobody else cares, but you're the only one that's ever flipped that on me. So.
I mean, there's also an argument of I'm not bringing barrage rockets because I don't own like 19 charge tokens.
Oh, I do. I
Require
love
that barrage
using-
rockets. So
yeah.
there's it's like even more because Malorus has one ability, right? So it's like 21 like charge tokens. It's so many. So, but no, this has been popping up. It controls really well. So if you have a lot of like problems like Han still doesn't want like a mag pulse, and or a lot of jams from Kylo and all that kind of stuff, and it could hit really hard. Also, an I6 Von Reg jam really just ruins a lot of Lukes because they're either going to lose their lock for the proton torpedo and force the instinctive aim it for only having one force, or they just don't get the proton torpedo.
Yeah. And I like that too. I think, I don't know, maybe next year we'll do a segment where we talk about what should you be bringing to store champs if you still have them, or what should you be bringing to worlds, because I think one of the things is jam is more important now than it ever has been. Like it has not been an important feature in X-Wing that for a while at least, because of some of the insane amount of tokens we used to be able to have. But now we're down to you have a force a carrier to I don't know. I think I don't know what you would do to FO to make them top of the thing unless you were like, hey, here, have a Kylo at 4 points. But I think the jam is just so important right now.
Yeah, it really is.
So, all right, the next one is a non-Padme list, thank God, in Republic, because my Padme in Republic does not live. I don't know what it is. I don't know how people kill my Padme all the time. I gave up. I was flying that Padme in Arcs list, and then I got pissed off because people just like kill my Padme, and then I couldn't like if they don't one round it, I'm usually okay. But if they one round Padme, it's over. Like I can't. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
It's almost
It's-
like that list is very overrated.
Could be.
Cough.
But we haven't talked about like what are the centerpieces inside of each of these factions, right? But Anakin is been, in my opinion, more of a centerpiece than you would say Padme is, in my opinion, for 4 points at least. So
Yeah, well, you only have one I6 on the whole faction, so you better
Yeah.
bring them. And being I4 is really nice. But yeah, this list is actually it's increasing a lot in popularity. It's pretty cool. So you have SOC Anakin, SOC Kickback. That's the I5 Diamond Boron one. SOC Oddball, SOC Wolf. Then you got Click with R3, Besh Config, and Crackshot, which is pretty much all you need on them, right? You don't really need a bomb. Sucks that you don't
Yeah.
have dedicated, but it is what it is. And then you have Slider with dedicated. So you have an I6, 2 I5s, and 3 I4s. So you get a lot of flexibility in this list. It's very defensive between Click, Slider's dedicated, Selfless, and the Evade from Kickback. And it actually works pretty well for objectives. Like it is a 6-chip list. You have 2 medium bases for assault. Anakin can scramble. You have Born for this to help out for anyone who doesn't get actions by picking up the crates or for doing the scramble actions. So it's just it's a tough nut to crack, right? It's just you have to have a lot of spike damage or be really good at like range control in order to like really do a lot of work in this list.
Yeah, and this list, to me, this list has versatility, right? Like you don't have to with Kickback always take the evade token. You can take a target lock, and you could take your target lock preemptively and not shoot it. Right? You can just say, "Hey, I'm going to keep it for next turn. I could take my evade the next turn, and then you've got an evade to pass off plus the target lock." I mean, I'll tell you the only thing I hate about this list is I cannot stand Kickback style. Like I hate their dial. I hate Torrent style so much. They just bother me all over the place. But you're probably not stressing him very often.
Yeah. I mean, to use the ability, right? Because you get that evade, barrel roll, target lock. But beyond that, I mean, you're pretty much going to go straight or just slightly to the left or right. That's it.
I mean, like they have white turns. Like the two turn is white, so they can still turn. It's not
They
like a
can.
lambda.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they're just kind of like an earlier version of the B wing, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
other part of it too is just so much beef, right? You got 10 hull or sorry 9 health on those arc 170s, and then Click to help negate range bonuses with his ability, and then Anakin and Slider just those extra ships there that can help out with objectives and shots. So it's a lot to like really go through and try to chew through the meat of this list, especially with the ability to pass off tokens in between each other. So yeah.
All right. And the last list we have, you called it just YOLO it. This is a list Dom has brought quite a bit. Alex, what is this CIS list?
So this is a list with Sunfok in it. So you really have to be very good at flying the Nantex and also not be against Falcons generally, or in like large base things like Rack. But there's like this list or double fire spray dirge and separatists that are consistently doing well. So this one is Sunfok with Ensnare, Gravitic Deflection, and Targeting Computer. Got Dirge with Proton Cannons, Contraband, Seismic Charges. Got Grievous with Marksmanship, Shield Upgrade, Impervium. SOC DIS T81, that's the funny reroll man. And then you got DFS 081, which is the Vulture with Energy Shell Charges and Independent Calcs. And if you're going against small base lists like 5T70 or something, if you have a lot of that in your kind of meta, this is really good against those kinds of things. Just the Sunfox, pass off that tractor token. You can barrel roll people. Yeah, they can rotate, but also you can set up a proton cannon shot when they rotate. Then they have one less agility die, and they can't spend green tokens. Like if you combo off correctly, if they, maybe they rotate towards you, and now their back's facing Grievous, so now he's getting rerolls. It's just a lot of there's some tricky things, but it's a lot of like just quality dice modification. Like reroll just gets rerolls, right? You get Grievous who gets rerolls. You got Dirge who can hit really hard. He's denying your green token. Sunfox can be a monster.
Yeah, and I will say one of the things about this list is you have two specific pocket aces, is what I would call them, with the Tri-Fighter and Grievous. And yes, Grievous is not an ace. I get it, blah blah blah. But you can sit. What I mean by that is you can sit each on each side of the board, and then tell your opponent, are you going to spread out, or are you going to come pick one of them to get? And I will tell you, whenever I have the T81 and they go after T81, that's the mistake. Go after Grievous. Like just go at, if you're going to invest the firepower, Grievous has an easier time dying than T81. And because I'll tell you, if it's range 3 shots into T81, I get 4 dice the first time, and usually 2 to 3, or at least 3 the next time, right? And so if it's at range 1, I'm getting 3 dice and then 2 dice every single time, no matter what. And I can always re-roll whatever. It's not even like a Han results, right? Like thank God this thing only has 3 health, because if this thing had more than 3 health, it would just be, shitty. And if you ignore them, I'm gonna outmaneuver you, right? Like I know that ship can 4 straight boost into a calculate or a target lock or an evade, and it can do all sorts of things. I will tell you the funnest list I ever ran though is give me my Afflex at 3 points and let me run 2 Afflex and T81 together. That would be so much fun. 10 points right there. Sunfox and Grievous. That'd be my list.
I was gonna say you should go after General Grievous because you can always just kill T81 in like 2 shots. So you might as well go after Grievous first, knock him out of the board, and then just turn in.
Yeah. It's just Grievous just is less maneuverable. It's so much more predictable. Yes, he doesn't like to die, but
yeah,
if you focus on Grievous, see, he doesn't always live. So, well,
yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and the other part too is right, is taking advantage of Sunfox and Snare, right, in conjunction with Grievous and T81. You can really force your opponent to get into that disadvantaged state. I mean, just when you think you're going to go face off against one of these ships, then a Snare can come in and force you to be facing the wrong direction or go right past them, where you're now out of you're now not able to face them, and they're going to get their rerolls or that outmaneuver on top of that too. So being able to really leverage that ensnare really makes that list even more deadly. Imagine being tractored and then getting outmaneuvered. I mean, you're not going to be rolling any dice. So.
Well, all right. Well, thank you all. This has been a fun time. We're going to end the episode here. We're not going to go any further. We're already an hour and 40 minutes in. One of the things that would be awesome is if you have opinions, thoughts, comments, things you want to see on the podcast, you can hit us up on Discord, or you can send us an email at planningphasesyndicate@gmail.com. We have some things coming up in the works that we're working on for the future here, but right now we really just need to focus on getting some time with some family, taking a little bit of a breather, and coming back hitting hard next year. Now, if you're in Michigan and you're listening to this, because we're a Michigan podcast, because JJ doesn't count, and he's a Lions fan now, so yeah, he's a Lions fan now. So we have 2 more store champs And to my knowledge, for Michigan, that's it. So we're gonna have January 14th in Zeeland, Michigan. We're gonna have an out of the box tournament. Come celebrate Zach's birthday. It's a Sunday. We got the store to ourselves. We can order pizza if we want for lunch. You can bring beverages you would normally not bring into a game store, and nobody cares there because there's literally gonna be just us in the whole store. So right now I have the settings capped at 20 people, but we will go higher. If we could get 32 people, that would be amazing. Turnout. And JJ, of course, you are always invited to come. Eternal will be on the 20th, which is a Saturday afterwards. If you would like to come to that, that is on the east side of the state. So those are the last two tournaments that we have. Eternal is also capped at 32 as well. A little bit closer for East Siders, farther away for Chicago people. But hey, I'll tell you what, if you can help us make these the best store champs possible, we have the cost set pretty low. $10 for a person for the Zeeland one, and $15 a person for the Detroit one. So we're keeping the costs low, folks. Come out and at least have fun with us. How about that? You don't even have to worry about winning. Just come out, have fun. Let's make a day of it. And yeah.
And one other announcement for here in North Carolina, the Atomic Empire store will be having their last store championship on January 13th, which is a Saturday. Come out so that we guys can come there. I will be there. I will make every attempt to stream that particular event. And I am personally putting out prizes on behalf of our podcast. We have some custom painted chips that will be giving out as prizes that will be raffled off at the end of the event there. So come over there. We'll hope to see a lot of you guys out there. Come out to the store. Again, that's going to be January 13th over at Atomic Empire in Durham, North Carolina. And we hope to see you guys over there and have a great time.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. I won't lie and tell you that we might stream. I don't know. We might stream like a game here or there or something like that over the holidays, but we're not going to commit
Star Wars
to anything.
Unlimited.
We do have, JJ and I played our first Star Wars, my first Star Wars Unlimited game, and I beat him. And
yes, you did.
Okay, all right. I have to tell you because this is the best part about it. I never even know how to play the game. So JJ's like screwing me over half the game, like not telling me something, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, by the way, you could do this and that." So I get this card. I don't remember the name of the card, but whatever card I get, I was running Vader. And oh, by the way, in Star Wars Unlimited, Vader has the same ability that he has in X-Wing. You basically just get to do a damage for free for like $1. Like that's basically what he does. So it's pretty amazing. So I do my Vader thing, and he gets Thrawn on the table. Thrawn's at full health. And what does Thrawn have? What?
6 health.
Yeah. And so I do my 1 damage, and then I have this card. And so JJ just doesn't think nothing of it. And all of a sudden I play this card and I go, "Oh, I can afford this card. It does 5 damage. That kills your Thrawn before you can activate, right?"
It's like a 4-stroke, like, I think. Yeah.
He was like, "God damn it." He's like, "Yeah."
4 strokes Thrawn and kills him.
Yeah. Like before Thrawn could do anything.
Just like the movies.
Yes. It was great. But so far I'm enjoying the game. I finally created an account, and so I don't know. Obviously that's not our podcast, but during the holidays, I want to mess around with it because I like card games and I like Star Wars. So it's kind of like two things that fit into my bubble. So if anyone wants to buy my Star Wars Destiny collection, I have a full collection. I'll happily sell it to them. So I could buy some Star Wars Unlimited cards. Because that's what my wife told me. She goes, "You own too much shit. You got to sell something at some point, Tanner." But anyway, thank you all so much. If you support the podcast, if you just tune in every week and support us that way, if you share our information with our friends, thank you so much. We appreciate every one of you. And we hope that you all have a happy holiday and a safe new year coming up. With that being said, I'm going to sign off. This is Tanner.
Happy holidays, everybody, from JJ.
Happy 2023.
Yep. Thank you all. We'll see you in the new year. Have a good night, everyone.